Kim. Here. Okay, Laura, do you want to read the statement?
I sure will.
I just got the recording too, please.
I already did. We're good. Okay. This open meeting of the Mendon Select Board is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 24th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the Governor orders suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Mendon Select Board will be convening by telephone conference as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Just a reminder, if you're not speaking, I ask that you mute yourself, and we will be doing votes by roll call, considering this is a remote meeting. Any citizen statements and petitions?
Mr. Chair, can I just jump in?
Go right ahead.
I just want to let the board and the town administrator know that the new fire engine was delivered to us today. We're going to get it registered probably Thursday after the holiday and get people trained, and hope to have it in service by late next week.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Any other citizen statements or petitions? No. Correspondence to the board. Consider the Land Use Energy Use Committee's request to place signs and send a letter regarding the Solarize Mass Plus program. Anne, and I think Anne, you talking to this?
Yeah, or Carolyn. Carolyn, did you want to talk or do you want me to?
You go ahead, Anne. Go ahead.
Is in your packet, and it's about the Mendon Upton Solarize Mass Plus program, which Mendon is involved with and you all approved, and it offers 6 green technologies that people can purchase in Mendon at good prices. They're vetted installers, and it's with COVID-19, it's been really hard to get the word out. And one of the other towns had a letter sent out by the select board members, just sort of talking about the program. It's a very general letter. And so we were wondering if you might do that, sign a letter, and we would cover all the costs. So it wouldn't cost you anything. It would be more just letting people know about the program.
Yeah, I'm open to that. Other members?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm open to that.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
I move to authorize the placement of signs and a letter to be sent to residents regarding the Solarize Mass Plus program in Mendon.
Second.
We didn't talk about the signs. Did you want to talk about that then? I didn't know it was going to be all in one.
I want to just mention where they're going to be placed.
Yeah, we just have these lawn signs, and I think Laura copied what they look like. They're fairly attractive, but would like to put one like at the Taft Library, the old Taft Library, possibly the new library. Can they be put on like intersections like where Providence Road and Hartford Avenue East meet? Could that they be put in those types of locations?
I don't see why not. And can residents request them if they wanted them on their property?
Yeah, we're having residents, especially ones that have been involved in the program, put them on their lawns.
And I mean, maybe even put in the letter that we're going to send out that if anybody wants a sign, they could reach out to the committee to get one or buy one or whatever.
Yeah, I probably not, just because we don't have that many, and I think we'll find people. But thank you. Like the other location might be on Route 16 to the right when you're coming up the hill, not on the Fino property, but before then, where the town owns it.
That's fine with me.
I don't have any objections. I think, Ann, the only thing that I would say is if you're sticking it at intersections, just be mindful of lines of sight and stuff like that. I know that there's just a small little shingle sign, but, you know, especially that intersection down at Providence Road and Hartford Ave is a pretty busy intersection. We've had some incidents there. So as long as it's not blocking a line of sight, I have no problem with that.
Okay,
Great, thank you.
You all in favor?
Burke, aye.
Tenio, aye.
Real aye. Thank you. Consider a 3-year, it's actually a license with Peter Hawks for use of the hayfield on Inman Hill Road.
so it's the same license that we've used, and Cindy, town council, looked at it and made a few changes, and so she approved it. Peter Hawks would give us $15 from the last 3 years, and also show that we have that he has the right amount of insurance.
Is it a license or is it a lease?
It's a license.
Yeah, I think Cindy's gonna talk, but it used to be called a lease, and then they said, no, it's a license. So I don't know if Cindy wants to say something, but.
Is Cindy on?
She is.
I can't see her, so.
Yeah, she's still on mute.
I don't see Cindy either.
I am here. I can see you guys. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Hi, Cindy.
I can.
There you
I'm
are.
having a few technical difficulties. I'm on the phone trying to get my computer to work. It's a license because it's not a temporary it's not a permanent disposition of property. If you wanted to do it as a lease, you'd have to get town meeting authorization. And this way you can revoke it at will. And we encourage these types of things to be done consistently by license agreement.
Mhm.
The only reason why I ask is because it says lease on the motion. That's why I was asking. So should the motion say license instead of lease?
Yes.
Yes, in fact, I tried to email Laura. She may not have received it, saying the motion should say license.
Okay, thank you.
She did receive that and let me know. She just didn't want to send out a whole other.
No, I don't blame her.
Exactly, to confuse everybody with another packet, that's why.
Yep.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
So I move to approve a 3-year license with Peter Hawks for the use of the hayfield on Inman Hill Road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Tenio,
Burke, aye.
Real aye. Excellent. Thank you. Consider appointment of the executive assistant for public safety. Kim
Okay,
or chief, whoever.
that's all right. As you know, we received over 100 applications for this position. We were able to choose from a very qualified pool of candidates. We conducted interviews last week, both chiefs, myself, and our HR coordinator. The top candidate was Samantha Chatterton. She has previous experience in multiple municipalities. She has a background in accounting, having served as the assistant accountant in Uxbridge. She also has a background in accounts payable and has done, work with both police and billing and other things in those communities. So we are highly recommending her. She has a great personality, very smart, very eager to start here in Mendon.
Excellent. I'll accept the motion.
I move to appoint Samantha Chatterton to a full-time position of executive assistant for public safety, 40 hours per week at a rate of $27.33. The start date will be November 30th of 2020.
second.
All those in favor?
Burke, aye.
Tenio, aye.
Real aye. Welcome aboard, Samantha. That's great.
Is great.
Okay. Consider appointment of Claudio Tavares, part-time communications officer. Kim, you want to speak to this?
All right.
Yes.
Sure. This is, just going to make sure this is the correct one. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, this is a straightforward appointment for a part-time position over there. He made another request for something for leave today, so I was just double checking. He's got experience as a dispatcher, and that's what we need to get us to the end of the year.
Okay.
So I move to appoint Claudio Tavares to part-time communications officer position for the Mendon Police Department at a rate of $25 per hour.
Second,
All in favor?
Clark, aye.
Tenio, aye.
Real aye. Thank you. Consider Chapter 90 amendment / reimbursements for Blueberry Drive, Butler Road, Cranberry Court, Hartford Ave West, Nelson Court, and Vincent Road.
So I move to approve Chapter 90 amendment in the amount of $19,670.11 and Chapter 90 reimbursement in the amount of $272,250.56 for work done on Blueberry Drive, Butler Road intersection, Cranberry Court, Hartford Ave West, Nelson Court, and Vincent Road.
Second,
Is Alan on to talk about this?
He gave me the paperwork and I sent him the link, but I don't see him on.
Okay.
He told me that he had gone over, and that's what the amendment is in his initial estimate of what it would be. And then the reimbursement amount includes that overage amount in it for that work that was done.
All right. I'm fine with that. Lonnie, you good with this?
I have no concerns, nope.
As long as the accounting works, I'm good.
Okay. All in favor?
Clark, aye.
Tenio, aye.
Real aye. Okay. Discuss STM.
So I put this on the agenda just to make sure that we are all on the same page with moving forward with the STM on the 19th. Jay is also on the line, can speak to it. We had discussed whether or not it made sense to continue with the STM as planned at this point, or if we should postpone it based on current situations. But due to the fact that there are such a limited amount of articles on the warrant, my recommendation is that we move forward and just try to expedite the meeting as quickly as possible. And in order to help do that, because it was pretty successful last time, we're going to have a virtual STM meeting the Tuesday night before the Thursday, where we can be available so that anyone who might have questions about those articles can just ask them then. So that way we can keep, have remote participation in that way and hopefully keep everybody safe.
I'm all for moving forward with it.
Mark, can I weigh in?
Go right ahead.
I actually think we're making a mistake, quite honestly. I don't have any big fears of everything, but I think we were way too crowded in June. I don't see anything on the warrant that's really, crucial, critical, has to get done this November. COVID positive tests in Mendon are up like 25% in the last month. I think we're going to end up, people aren't going to come because they don't want to be exposed to anything. And I think, if we're deciding things that are important, we should encourage people to participate. So I had asked, 6 weeks ago why we didn't try to move it to a Saturday and do it outside or something like that. Or as I think you've all seen, Upton's put up a great giant circus tent. They're holding it tonight outside at Nipmuc. I have big hesitations. I mean, if we're going to do it, we'll do it. And, Kim is right. I get a lot of participation, but there's some bylaw changes on there that I think people should have a right to speak to. And I think they're not going to come. I don't even think people even know that there's a special town meeting. That seems to be the impression I'm getting. So I'm not a big fan of this, quite honestly. It's my 2 cents.
Okay. Lonnie, Chris,
If the meeting moves forward, I plan not to be in attendance. I agree with Jay. I mean, right now we're having a pretty substantial increase in cases here in Mendon. Mendon's in the red. I think we need to be smart as a community in protecting our citizens. So if there's nothing urgent here, I'd be in favor of pushing it out. But that's just my own perspective.
So Cindy, there's some issues with how we move forward if we decide to push it out. Do you want to talk to that?
You're muted, Cindy. You gotta unmute.
Maybe Cindy needs an assistant to do this part for her.
That would be great. I can hear though.
Yeah.
I have to go back and look at exactly how far you can push it out and what you have to do, because quite honestly, none of my towns have pushed off their fall town meetings. So I just need to double check how far you can push it out. Where the warrant has been posted, it's Jay's call, I believe. And it's got to be, you've got to make an effort to go to the safety officers in the town, which would be the police chief and fire chief, and talk to them. And then you need to prepare a report. I don't know why something is attacking my computer. But I'd have to get back to you on exactly what specifics you have to do, because I haven't had anyone try to do it since the early spring ones. And then the limitations where you had the year end and the fiscal year end, and that was driving when you had for deadlines. Jay, do you know off the top of your head?
I do not know any, I'm not sure how that all works if we push it out. I mean, we have done some things, and actually Daniel and I are going tomorrow to sort of test out setting up a remote site, because quite honestly, I don't expect we're going to have a lot of people, but if by some chance we do, we're going to have to stream it into the auditorium like we did at the annual town meeting, which was totally unsuccessful, I would think, for the people that were in there. So we have to figure out a way to do that better, and we're going to test that out tomorrow. I can tell you the gym is all marked off at little tape markings at every 6 feet, so the kids can stand there and wait for their parents to pick them up. So, I mean, we are trying to set it up if we go forward with it and make it so that it's safe for everybody. And, Kim may be right that, we may only have 35 or 40 people there. I guess my hesitation is that I don't think 30 or 40 people should be making decisions on bylaws and stuff like that. And I just don't see a lot of other stuff that's critical. So at this point, it's too late to move it outside and go to a different day. I think, the perfect day would have been last Saturday, right? It would have been beautiful out, or this Saturday is not going to be bad, but I don't think we can change it and make it earlier. So we're talking of going later. And I don't know what your options are at this point. So, to me, it's either you cancel it and just don't hold it, period, which I think you can do without any ramifications. But you've already spent money sending out warrants and stuff like that. So I realize there's a fiscal responsibility there as well. I just wish we had thought it through a little bit further a month ago. That's all. But if we go forward with it, I think we'll do the best we can, and we'll make it quick. And I think if we do a virtual meeting Tuesday, we can answer some questions. Again, it's going to be bylaw stuff. There'll be no projector in the auditorium, in the gym. So it's all going to be old school again. And you know how bylaws go when people start amending things, which I'm sure is going to happen depending on how they're being presented. So I just have hesitations. Like I said, I agree with Chris. I think we've had a big spike, and I realize we've only got 54 cases in the town. It's not like we have this rampant, infection rate going up like other towns, but we've had a big jump in the last month.
But hold
But
on.
to answer your question, Cindy,
So-
I don't know what the rules are.
So we've had a jump in the last month. But were we going to even look at it? What's the recovery rates of those? Has everybody recovered? What are our numbers at right now? Are they at zero? I mean, and why can't we put a projector in the auditorium?
We don't have a screen and projector that's going to be visible for the entire gym. In the auditorium, there is.
In the gym, sorry.
We don't have, unless the town owns a big, a giant a screen or something, we don't really have anything that we can get in there.
So we projected them on the wall before, but just saying.
Can I comment on that?
Sure.
So the bylaws that are on the warrant are fairly minimal housekeeping things. I'm really hoping there aren't any amendments. They're not, all the big stuff got tabled till May. So it's just a couple stormwater things and something about land use, I believe. So hopefully it's not too bad.
I mean, you know, we did stuff without projectors and screens and all that stuff for many years, so there's no reason we can't do it that way. It just makes it a little difficult. We've tried to incorporate some technology, but we do the best we can, that's all. You know, hopefully we can answer the questions that people have on Tuesday, and if an adjustment needed to be made to a motion, it can be made before Thursday to incorporate some of that. That's if people attend on Tuesday night and talk about it. And, you know, you're right, Lonnie, we can try, you know, and project on the wall behind us. We're going to set up the same way we did at the annual town meeting. So we're going to be at one end of the gym. I've talked to Dan Fleury, who's going to come and do sound. I've got a deputy moderator to come do the gym or the auditorium if it's needed. Otherwise, he's going to go back home probably. And like I said,
Sorry.
I was going to say, so Daniel and I are going to go tomorrow to sort of see if it works, because the thing is, last time we were like, you know, 10 minutes before the meeting, we were scrambling to set it up. So we're going to try and make sure it works tomorrow. Sound, picture, everything, so that people, if there's an overflow into the auditorium, they can actually participate and hear, and somebody's there to count their votes.
How many people can you hold in the gym?
Probably around 100.
Do you typically get more than 100 on a special?
Last
town?
November's special, we had about 125, 130 in the auditorium. But typically, I would say it's anywhere from 75 to 100. It's not, it's the same 75 people that always come, and then, you know, some stragglers depending on what's on the warrant. And with the pandemic and everything, I don't think you're going to get a big turnout, because I think people are going to be hesitant to go. I mean, that's part of my issue, is that people are hesitating to go because of a pandemic, but yet we're going to make decisions that are going to affect them.
Okay, well, you know, my view is we did this in June. It was a worse situation then than it is now. Granted, yes, there are cases going up, but I don't know. My opinion is we go forward, because we can't just always keep pushing things off. I mean, God knows we could next year end up being in a worse position than we are now.
So is there a way that we can utilize Teams to allow anybody that's nervous about going, that they would be able to join in and we can monitor it? No?
No,
My understanding is you have to be physically present to vote.
because you are only a representative town meeting, which you are not, can do remote.
Okay. Even though the governor's orders, that doesn't cover the town meeting?
They don't
Not
count, they don't apply to town meeting.
Okay.
It's, if you have a representative town meeting like Milford, you can do it, but an open
Correct.
town meeting cannot.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, my opinion is that we just move forward.
Yeah. And like I said, if that's the decision, I'll be there and I'll do the best I can, and we'll get through it.
Okay. Well, ultimately, it's your call, Jay, but I think the opinion.
Well, actually, you guys schedule and do the town meetings. I just moderate it. So if I decided I wanted to postpone it, we still have to open it up that night, and I would have to do it then. If I'm going to get there and do all that stuff, we might as well get through the agenda, the warrant, you know?
Right. Okay.
I guess what I would say is, that's fine, but you know, we're going to have another annual town meeting coming up in May or June. I don't necessarily anticipate that our situation health-wise is going to be a whole lot different next spring. We should plan ahead now for how we're going to address that and do it, so maybe we can move it outside and do it in a little safer environment.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
That's great, and we can do that. We tried to do it the last time, and the weather just got us, so we had to move inside, which we didn't end up having to move inside because the weather didn't say what it was going to do. So we're just always at the mercy of that. It's not like we're not trying to do these things. It could have been snowing today, you know. In November, it's not as easy to predict as the other months or our spring meeting. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we're acting like we don't try anything, but we constantly do, and I don't think we need to lose sight of that.
Well, we need to do a tent if we want to do it outside, regardless of whether we think the weather's good or not. You just need to rent a tent for the night or something. And I'm talking about a big one, not a, you know, 10 by 20 tent, but a 80 by 100 foot tent, something that'll accommodate everybody. Because otherwise, you're right, Lonnie. We're at the whims of the weather.
Okay. Anything else on that? Okay. Topics not reasonably anticipated. Consider IMA for shared town planning services with Mendon, Millville, Uxbridge. Kim?
Hi, so we've talked about this shared planning position, and I believe I had forwarded the job description and the draft when we talked about positions a month ago or so. Uxbridge actually signed off on the IMA last night, so we're the next community to sign off on it. Just to hit the highlights, the contract only lasts for a year. We can get out of it every year if we want to. It's basically structured in the same way we do animal control, portioned based upon the size of community. And so we had agreed on, I think, like 35 to 45 we talked about for a price. It actually might be a little bit less, might be more like 28 to 30 something, depending on who we get to hire and how it's shared. But the good news is it's moving forward. CMRPC will do the hiring, and the person should be housed in Uxbridge, but we'll have office hours here in Mendon as well once they come on board. I did speak with Bill Ambrosino for a while last week about the details of all of it, and he's very excited to have this position added to the department.
Yes, this is a great ad as far as I'm concerned. Do we know, is there a specific amount of hours that are allocated to each community?
Yes. So I was trying to bring up the slide. It's like 18, 16, and 12, or it's like Millville is still trying to decide how much they can afford hours wise. So I told CMRPC we'll take whatever they don't want. So Uxbridge will probably get 18, and then we'll get the split of what's left, 15 and 5 or whatever.
Okay, that's fine. I like that approach.
Chris, you have anything to add?
No, I just think it's a great add to the community, so I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
we
to
definitely need it.
it. So I move to sign the IMA for shared town planning services with Mendon, Millville, and Uxbridge.
Second,
All in favor?
Burke, aye.
Tenio, aye.
Real aye. Thank you. Okay. I move to enter into executive session under purpose 3 under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the Mendon Town Hall Union, Local 272, Mendon Highway Department Union, Local 272, Mass Coalition of Police Union, AFL-CIO, Local 188, Mendon Police Civilian Dispatch Union, Local 188A, and the Mendon Permanent Firefighters Union, Local 4936 IAFF. Also under purpose 3 to discuss strategy with respect to litigation update. We will reconvene only to adjourn. Roll call vote is needed. Oh, Cindy, go ahead.
You want to go into executive session to discuss litigation because you believe that in conducting these conversations in open session would be detrimental to the position of the town.
That, exactly. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Burke, aye.
Tenio, aye.
Real aye. Thank you, everyone.
Mark, do we have a link to